Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our market-oriented Russia run. This is the current state of the market as things are now. We have decreased the size of the market a little bit from these guys, but we are looking to incorporate them the old-fashioned way, and so that's kind of why we did that. Last episode we had the littlest big world war between us, France, Austria-Hungary, and the UK. We had this place start against the United States, which we joined in, dogpiling on them. They might back down. We'll see how that turns out. We also got malaria prevention, so we will be ripping through the Congo here. We're colonizing all of it, and we'll be doing it right quick. Looks like the UK is kind of sped up a little. Maybe they've gotten malaria prevention as well. It's not going to matter. We have too much incorporated pop for them to even possibly be able to handle. And then finally, we also got the good boyo marks. Now, we might not go communist because we have to. So I'm not sure if there's still the penalty that you get from what is it called? There used to be a penalty from if you go Council Republic, other people just like leave your market instantly and it just collapses your market, and we don't want to do that. But let's see. Is this unique to marks? No, it's probably not. Okay. But if that's the case, we can't go that. We have to stay, laissez-faire or market-oriented in order to have a huge market, which makes some sense. Also, this like annex your subjects rebellion business is starting to really harsh my mellow. I'm really not a fan of this bug. This bug is incredibly annoying because what we were going to try and do is we were going to try and paint the entire map green. But now it looks like we're going to have to incorporate the UK somehow, low infamy style, which I don't even know if that's going to be possible. We're going to start thinking about how to do that because they have so many subjects, and they have subjects who rev, and this creates problems, like, okay, we transfer Nejd, and we just got, like, this polka dot right here. Terrible. So that's the state of affairs. Also, in the interim, we have 0 infamy right now. We were looking for a reasonable way to generate some infamy, and we found this. In Jaibe, we can take on their debt, and then... Oh, well, the U.S. backs down. That's anticlimactic. Once Jaibe says yes, we can make them a protectorate using the obligation. This will generate 4 infamy, and we get a little bit of infamy. Let's see if we can finish up these wars. Yeah? Will you... No, you won't give us colonization rights. But Jaibe is now a protectorate, so we're going to start damaging relations with them as soon as we can here. The goal, of course, once they get negative, we will just vassalize them and then annex them. But we need a little bit more diplo, so... which is a continuous problem. It's a little bit exacerbated by the fact that petite bourgeoisie doesn't like us right now. And discrimination is kind of a big thing, so this malice is actually pretty uncomfortable. We have to find... Where can we find... just a little bit of diplo? So we've been looking around, and to some degree, so these guys are defending the borders, but even if they weren't, the ideological difference is too big, so maybe we stop bankrolling these guys, and, we might come back to it later, but now we should have enough to begin damaging relations here, and so, yeah, this is kind of how we've been doing things. We're also preparing the queue, or we're building a lot of stuff that is oriented towards the text we're about to finish researching here. Like, we are building a bunch of, chem plants in the queue, because we're about to get this. We're building some engines in the queue, because we're going to go pump jacks next. And then we're going to go for combustion engine. We generally want to be kind of going ahead of time on stuff, because we have a lot of tech spread, and we're utilizing tech spread. We, of course, have the Uzbek secession. It wouldn't be a game without a bunch of secession movements. And hopefully we can finish up this rebellion at about the same time the Uzbek secession pops off. Since we have all these guys mobilized anyways, we can demobilize them now, though, so that's pretty nice. We actually might demobilize some of these guys. You demobilize this. Oh, we can't demobilize yet? Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. But hopefully this ends at about the same time this ends. We're kind of stuck in a spot where we're going to have a ton of native uprisings because we just got malaria prevention, and all this. And so it's going to be kind of hard for us to declare wars, but we'll see what we can do here. And threshing machines, good yard. So one place we're not going to turn the threshing machines on is, unfortunately, we have been having some problems here in Beijing and also in Shaanxi regards to the auto queue, because they are continuously building more and more of these things, even though they can't fully employ because they only have discriminated pops here, which is pretty annoying. I mean, some of the pops are able to come on up and be employed anyways, but this is a little bit annoying. And so we're going to turn on threshing machines for every single thing except for in Shaanxi, because the problem is not the problem on these guys' employment is not the fact that they don't have enough laborers, but rather the fact that they don't have enough peasants. We might even do that so that a bunch more peasants employ up. So we're going to switch all these over to steam-powered threshing machines, but then we're going to do this to try and handle the unemployment. We're going to go to no tools needed, because they can hire a whole bunch of peasants up because the peasants are available there, and eventually we'll swap that over. We also did get just now the dynamite, so we'll turn that on in all the places. We should be able to support it, and this should also make construction a little bit more expensive, but explosive shells too. But the chem plants, now that we have vacuum process, this should make it cheaper again. And so the econ should be looking pretty good shape. We're making a lot of money, probably wanting to add construction here or lower taxes. Can see kind of either one. We are going to need to free up some authorities somewhat soon because we are trying to get protected speech, which will limit our authority. So I'm guessing we maybe just want to remove this consumption tax, knowing we're going to get rid of it anyway as a result of passing protected speech. And then we'll just kind of, you know, let things settle in. We could also, we've been wanting for a while to put in a decree here. So why don't we do that actually? For encourage resource industries. Shaanxi has the most resources in the entire game, and we can get rid of perms now. Perm is where we currently are encouraging resources, but this is going to lead to another 20% throughput in all this, and we get our thing, and just as I said, we are running a little bit negative authority. We do have native uprisings. These will continue until morale improves, which is probably never. A bit unfortunate that we couldn't do that. But we have this war coming in as well. Why don't we stand these guys down as well? Save a little bit of cash. I think that we had some generals die, so most of our guys are stood down anyways, because this is not all of our army, but we can go looking for a new general here, actually. I think that it's going to increasingly be the case, yeah, we just have 86 available in the Russia HQ. It's going to increasingly be the case that you are going to try and farm particular ideologies from these guys. I wish there was a way to refresh who you're recruiting, something like this, but recruiting a bunch of armed forces guys is not terrible, but we'd really rather recruit different from different categories. You know, we'd rather recruit people who are not armed forces specifically. Like, we'd rather recruit Intelligentsia to gas them up, this type of thing. But anyways, what is this peace deal? We just proposed it. I'm sure they say yes. And so now we don't have a war, except we have, of course, this, which means, and this, which means we can't start a war ourselves. And so we'll probably also be looking around for some way to generate infamy that's okay. Yeah. Well, what's this here? The USA declaring war on us after just backing down in the face of our military? That's hella awkward. So I guess they just want another beating. Beatings will continue until morale improves. We're obviously going to be going after war reparations and humiliating them. Very obviously. But other than that, we could ban slavery. Did we not ban it before? But maybe we could... Can we bust them up by swaying some people? Maybe we want to see who we can sway in here. But yeah, we're going to be adding a whole bunch to the one front we have with them. We just demobilized all these generals, which is like kind of annoying because it is a little bit tedious because you have to go through the character interaction. You can't just demobilize everyone who's standing by, which would be a fantastic button. And so we'll have to put a bunch of guys on this front, but this is just psychotic play by the USAI. And so we'll be giving them a good shellacking as a consequence of this. So we decided to go after New York as one of the war goals because we were having a hard time, finding some infamy. And so we just found a big chunk of infamy going for New York off the United States of America, which will allow us to continue to play the small ball expansion style, we've come to love. So what we'll be doing is we'll be wrapping up these sorts of affairs down here, and then we'll be using these boyos to land the USA's capital. So we got a negative roll here on guaranteed libs. We only have 10%, or is that 1% chance? No, there's 1% progress. We have a 10% chance of ticking with our negative roll, and, we have a feminist right now, and so I think what we're going to do is we're going to cancel this, and despite this not being a very legitimate government, where we are going to generate a lot of radicals, we're going to do this. And then we are going to come in here and go for women's suffrage. Because we have a feminist right now, this one will be good. Hopefully we manage to get a little bit of support. And also, the bonuses from Solidarity is pretty strong. It's significantly nerfed because... it used to be 10%, but 5% workforce ratio is pretty nice, especially because we are starting to run out of labor. We're also turning on, some PMs, where we're doing some labor-saving PMs in some spots, and this sort of stuff. Threshing machine was a nice help. This is not the full tale, because almost everyone who's unemployed right now, currently, is in the Chinese states, and they can't get employed because we are throttled by the fact that we don't have people who can do the ownership things in here. So, for example, we have... well, that's a bad example. Is this a better one? Yeah, so this one is waiting on ownership to build up for the aristocrats, what the Han Chinese can't do. So we really need multiculturalism to get off of this. But yeah, we're basically out of labor here, which is why this is trending up faster, is because we're starting to really siphon off a lot in migration from all of the people in our market. So it's not like running into a brick wall because we have all this to siphon off from, at least the ones we accept, but it is becoming a little bit of a concern. The war has started with the US. We are working in on landing here. It shouldn't be too big a deal or too hard a war, and so it shouldn't, and then we'll have even more migration attraction, once we have New York from the very unique building, the Statue of Liberty, which gives 25% migration attraction. We will not incorporate New York, which means it'll give 27% migration attraction. And also, the big reason to take New York is not only New York Harbor, which we don't have a naval shipyard building throughput place yet, so this will be nice, but really the electricity throughput, which is going to be super big, and our landing comes in. Everything's going to be okay. So we get an Anhui peasant revolt against us, and if my understanding of the game systems is correct, as in they're bugged, it is annoying currently that we have a system where, Great Britain is annexing their subjects' rebellions all throughout here, and that is a bit annoying. But it looks like we're about to just annex two of the biggest states in the game, both in Jiangxi and Fujian, because if this bug is persistent or consistent, we just get these for free at the end of all this. So that's going to be big interesting. Super happy they revved. So, because we're kind of rivals, this sort of thing, it looks like Italy is joined on the side of the Anhui peasant revolt. We should be able to manage this, but we are taking the opportunity to raid the convoys outside of Italy, because they have a few boyos in their market we would like to have in our market, and hopefully if we can collapse their convoys by enough, these guys will want to leave the market and maybe join on with us. We will also try and improve relations with these boyos. Actually, let's not improve relations, let's bankroll instead, so that we can, eventually try and get these boyos back in our market where they rightfully belong. And so this is a nice little opportunity. We're also going to navally land one little stack here, because we currently do not have very good frontage. We'll just do this little 10 stack, this tenor. I think that tenor was over there, but yeah, this is going to get pushed back. But for USA, we are enforcing currently, unless it's still bugged, which I guess we could just hover over and take a look at it. Yeah, it's not bugged this time, and so we should be able to enforce on the USA relatively shortly, and then turn our attentions back over to this over here in Anhui. So we have an event called the Ultimatum. The trade unions have issued a stern ultimatum to Mr. Marx, towing the party line on women's suffrage law. Karl Marx is determined to resist. Well, so this will give, likely Intelligentsia is kind of nuked, which we don't want, and we have a small chance of enactment chance, but Karl Marx can die? I don't think so. We'll just take this. Karl Marx will gain popularity and pop attraction to the Intelligentsia, which is super big nice on this front, because, man oh man, is Mr. Marx popular. He's popular. He's so popular and handsome and beardy. So we get pump jacks, which is such a huge tech, because it basically doubles the output of every plantation building, which is going to be huge. Also, just wanted to briefly note that the Statue of Liberty is doing good work, helping to bring people to Moscow. I thought that'd be important thing to note. But what is it we just got? We just got pump jacks. So pump jacks are extraordinarily good, because if we take a look here, the output is 20. It goes up to 40 with just the expense of 5 engines. This is absolutely enormous. We did prep a lot of extra engines in the queue, so hopefully we can support, swapping over to it relatively quickly. We're going to swap about a little over half of our stuff. Let's do, a little bit over half. I don't think this will cause an engine shortage, but engines will be really profitable. They'll need to employ up a little bit, and so there will be some inefficiency as we initially do this. And then we can, we also got in some landings on these boyos. I think it's in okay shape there. Let's see if we can swap up everything. Is this going to cause a problem? Now, Manchuria, we do want to go after militarily, so we will not accept the trade agreement. But yeah, this war is going okay. We do have this situation over here. It's under control. We have an event that just fired. Oh, we have several events. Rubber Rush, yeah, we know. Swords in this, yeah, the people know. Yeah, I mean, boy, do we know. The people know. I mean, I feel compelled to do that one now. And then, of course, full steam ahead. We will not sacrifice construction efficiency for anything, but yeah, we should be able to enforce on Anhui relatively easily, and it is going to be interesting to see if, we are able to damage the Italians enough that these guys want to leave the market. Right now they're in, and right now, there's not any negative, access. In fact, we have negative access. Actually, that might just be not having enough. We have enough convoys. I wonder what that's about. It might be because we're getting raided. I think we should probably also build up a bigger navy anyways, but we were hoping that maybe we could get these guys in. They are antagonistic because their overlord, who is Italy, is our... what is this? Okay, so we enforce on them. And the moment of truth here, this is covering this up. Do we get to annex their territory? We do. We just get to annex their territory for free. That's obscene. So, bug in action here. We just got a ton of extra territory, so we're going to reset the production methods and probably incorporate at least one of these guys. Man, that's so much to incorporate. We're going to incorporate Fujian. It'll take a little while, and then we're going to try and see about, getting another good chunk of... We're just going to try and resolve tax problems. We are going to delete those tax centers from the queue, but then try and solve tax centers or tax problems in places that are incorporated, because they are subject to the full tax shebang, as it were. And we will delete these from the queue because we don't want them in there, because that's quite a lot. This is kind of what China does in terms of the AI. They just build and delete government administrations into infinity, and then they collapse everything. So we'll just delete that. We'll fix that up. I think we'll delete the barracks. I'm not sure if we want to do South China barracks, so we'll just do that. And they can go back to the unused arable farms, and by they can go back, I mean they can't go back. But this should be a nice little come up now. We wish we could stand down these conscripts. We can't. We did reset the PMs, so they are going to start to use, more aggressive PMs. Does this end our war with Italy, though? Are we still at war with Italy? It did end the war with Italy. Okay, well, fair enough. We didn't get to damage them as much as we would have liked, but it is what it is, and now we just have to put down these. Well, fortunately, we have a ton of infamy to decay from the seizure of New York here, which is, again, helping to bring people to Moscow, as was intended by the Statue of Liberty. Freedom, the freedom to move to Moscow. Karl Marx. We get Socialist Demagogue event. Karl Marx of the trade unionists rapidly gaining popularity amongst the people. The radical socialist message of equality he espouses is proving especially appealing to the lower classes. You don't say. What's his popularity up to now? He's so popular. if we got him in Gov, he would just, so right now, these guys, look at this negative, bleh, no one likes this boyo, but Karl Marx, the big Chad that he is, Chatty McChad Chad, he is at 160, which I think is the most popular I've ever seen anyone ever, so I'm actually going to screenshot this, because I think this is a whole nother level. This is the most popular I've ever seen anyone ever, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but this would be giving us tons of authority, even more than Victoria, because he's got all these, like, modifiers currently. Right now, he is direct and persistent, and so we could put him as lead of the IG, but if we did that, what would happen is we would no longer be able to pass feminism, right? So we want to keep this feminist in. I'm also not sure if we want to even go communism, so we kind of just invited him for the memes, but now we're living in it. We do want to exile this guy eventually. He is propping up the petite bourgeoisie, who are kind of hitting us. They're slapping us with this quite often, and we actually care about our influence for this run, so this one's pretty annoying. And we also discriminate, so it's also pretty annoying. And we would love to have a slot, so that if we see anyone who would potentially allow us to go multiculturalism, we can invite them in, which currently we cannot. In particular, we are looking for someone who's an anarchist or a humanitarian, so this guy would do, because he is an anarchist, and so we might try and get him in and see what we could do. Not exactly on the best IG, because he is, what's it called, rural folk, so our rural folk's not that caked up, so it would be hard for us to pass it just off of his back. But we probably could do maybe a little something like this and use the rural folk there, but that's the idea for going multiculturalism. And of course we are cleaning this up here and hoping that we can start a war after this. So currently we want to go after Manchuria, and if we go in and we go to Dominion, because we were having trouble getting them diplomatically, we see it's a whopping 28 infamy. Man, that seems like so much. There's something we could do. So we have a cautious boyo as the leader of the Industrialists, and this gives us a minus 20% infamy generation, and he's currently not the ruler, but if we do this, he becomes the ruler. So all we have to do is this, and now we can still pass women's suffrage. We've gotten enough positive events, but now if we come in and go to make Dominion, hey, it's like 6 infamy less, which is big nice. This has enough support even without the trade unionist guy who is the feminist at this point, so we might just want to stick in on our 93% righteous, and go and grab this Dominion here. Now, this is going to be quite a bit of infamy. Would not be shocked to see Italy or British Republic join, but we'd be more than happy to clap them. Now, this will put us up to 36, so we will have to small ball after this, but currently we kind of got everyone to the point. Everyone who can join the market in the immediate sense already has, and this won't butt too many people out of the market. Just going over 25, it's really when you get over 50, people start to get big mad. And so we will be going after Manchuria now in order to do one of our journal entries for, what is this? It's like ruler of the East. We have to get all of this kind of stuff over here, which we're going to work on. But yeah, so you can swap your careful boyo in just to get cheaper wars. So we just finished researching electricity, so that's right, it's about time to start cranking up these power plants here in New York. They do have 20% building electricity output. That's not throughput, that's output, so it doesn't even increase the input goods, which is one of the reasons we're not incorporating this, is for the extra throughput. We might incorporate it, but the 10% juice we get on colonial exploitation, because this is a Russian colony here, this New York, New England area Russian colony. So this gets the 10% juice. But what we will do here is we are going to build up the construction centers up to level 25. And then we're going to build the railways up a little bit. And then we are going to put in like 50 power plants. And we're going to just get the max economies of scale. They will be a little bit slow to come up. The main reason we want to overbuild the railways here, by the way, is that the amount of immigration you could get is based off of your infrastructure. So by overbuilding the infrastructure a little bit, we're going to be able to try and, get the migration to come on up. They're emigrating from here, which we don't want. And hopefully we create a whole bunch of jobs and start cranking out the electricity from New York. Now, of course, we don't want to be completely dependent on New York for electricity, because if we lose market access, we can get like a weird sort of death spiral if none of it is adjacent to our market. So we will also be putting down a smattering of power plants here in Moscow. That is the Moscow, which is getting a whole bunch of immigration because of New York, as it was always supposed to be. And we'll add a few of these at the front of the queue. And sound off. We are going to go through with this war with Manchuria. Korea joined, which was a little bit unfortunate, because Korea's in our customs union, so if this war does pop off, it's going to kick Korea out of our customs union, which is unfortunate. Or did they just leave naturally? We still have positive relations, but they might have just left naturally, which is a bit annoying. Manchuria does back down, but it looks like they have left our customs union, which is unfortunate. Yeah, they joined the dirty Italian customs union, which is kind of the only customs union that's really picking off these big boyos, and so we might have to do something about that. You know, we have a ton of infamy to decay, so we can just like go for a humiliation war, this type of thing. Do we have a play that we're currently involved in? What's this? Right. So this is the real problem with when you rush malaria prevention. You do get a period of time, we probably shouldn't have used this guy, but you do get a period of time where you're just like kind of stuck dealing with a whole bunch of these, can't start a bunch of wars, which is why it's kind of nice having all this infamy right here, right now at least. But it is a little bit annoying because we can't start a war. We want to fight Italy. We want to open up Sokoto's market. We want to open up Siam's market. These are all plays we want to make that are like low infamy plays, and we can't do them because we're bricked. Glad to see tea plantations just being blasted Jiangxi. The otter queue is a little bit stupid. In this regard, it's not that the tea plantations won't be good, it's that I'm just sure they're not fully employing. Oh, they are fully employing, so they can find labor. Okay, I don't hate it. Just absolutely blasting. We put this on auto expand and blast some of this. The problem is every rice farm that gets built over is going to create huge unemployment, and we can't deal with this unemployment until we find a way to pass multiculturalism, which we are struggling with. Looks like we can invite a boyo, and on that note, and inviting a boyo will help out quite a lot. We are looking for an anarch. Oh my god, my brain's like, I'm looking over here. My brain needs to look on the left for an anarchist or a humanist. Either one will do. I do remember there being an anarchist that was part of the rural folk before, and if we get that boyo in, yeah, let's get this guy in. Good old Vilmos Bachler, which notably, if we want to go communist, now we have like 2 boyos that are gonna, pull for it. But what we can do now, eventually, is put this guy in, and then, bring this guy, not the pacifist, bring this guy into the government to allow us to pass multiculturalism. Currently, we're like halfway through women's suffrage, so I don't think we want to quite do that, but this will be the plan moving forward. And so we'll put down this rebellion right quick and get our electricity flowing out of New York to Moscow. Man, it just really feels like Karl Marx is getting more events than normal. He's currently at plus 120 popularity, and we get an event that give him another 20 popularity. Now, I believe he's already gotten this exact event, so I don't know if it rewrites it. Nope, he's up to 140. I think he was at 160 before, though, when we had like the absolute most caked up. We're going to take another screenshot just in case this is the highest Karl Marx. But yeah, he's super well loved. It's interesting to see that he's getting a whole bunch of events. Of course, we have another separatist movement. Really not a fan of the amount of separatist movements in terms of game balance on 1.3.5 particularly, because it really just like every single province you take seems to do this, which I guess makes like the market expansion a little bit better or more interesting or something like this. I don't really know. The center's breaking ranks. We will do this one. But now we have 2 stalls, so that's a little bit spooky. But we took an event to give us extra enactment chance or speed. Look at this, though. Negative 630. Terrible. Terrible. So we joined Morocco in a play pretty early here against France, and it looks like everyone's just dogpiling. Austria-Hungary also joined. Egypt joined. There's a decent chance these guys just back down. We get women's suffrage, which is a super big nice, not just because the workforce ratio is an incredibly strong modifier, and dependent enfranchisement will also juice up all of our consumer goods industries, not just because of this, but also because now, we can put our boyo, let's see, which of our boyos is in fact the anarchist, that boyo. We're going to put him in gov. And we got an event to give plus 20 legitimacy, so we're staying super legitimate. And once he's in gov, now what we can do is we can come in and, oop, not that one, but we can promote this guy to the leadership. Now he is our politician here, so we have an anarchist in the place. It also notably takes him out of the agitator slot, which is good to know. And now we have an anarchist in, so now, it does drop our legitimacy. Shocker. The anarchist doesn't get along with the other guys. That's crazy, man. But it will allow us to go multiculturalism, which is going to be super, super nice. Unfortunately, the Intelligentsia really hate it. Maybe we can invite an Intelligentsia guy and then promote him? No, it looks like we don't have an invite. It looks like it's on cooldown. Yep, it's on cooldown. But we will be able to go multiculturalism here, which is going to be super big nice if we can get it through. And so, especially because we have all these Chinese pops that are ours, and we would be able to, like, they would finally be able to migrate and solve all of, like, these problems we're having with labor now. Now, we did get a negative modifier somewhere. Yeah, the Petit Bourgeoisie hate our guts. We had started incorporating Jiangzi. We can just stop doing that, and everything's back to normal. We want to incorporate that eventually, but it is like a 5k incorporation, which is big not fun, big unpleasant. But they are worried, as well they should be, and we are finishing out this war, and we don't mind getting tangled up against, France for some time, because we don't have anything to do. We're like, our infamy is like nice and beep, 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 beep. Our infamy is nice and high, and we're doing a low infamy run, so I'd repeal the axe across the nation probably, right? Just gives lower, yeah, whatever. We'll just repeal the axe here, because we would rather get that event multiple times to juice up the approval of the trade unionists in general. But yeah, France is about to have a big, happy, not fun time, and we're gonna give it to them. We are going to give it to him. We should probably stop being cowards and just double construction, though. There's that. I think we are going to conclude the episode here. We are in the middle of a relatively big war here with France. This episode, we went after Manchuria, but more importantly, we took New York. That way we could both feed freedom to the people of Moscow, as well as electricity. It's starting to employ on up. We're starting to trickle up demand for the electricity by turning on some of the sawmills. We're going to continue to turn them on, and just very, very slowly, and do this sort of thing. But I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and other than that, have a good day.